Jimmy Butler going from the Miami Heat to the Golden State Warriors, and then signing a 2-year extension, I believe. But the main piece that the Heat received was Andrew Wiggins. I think that Jimmy Butler is an extraordinary player. I think that Jimmy Butler makes the Golden State Warriors better. But I don't think that Jimmy Butler is at a point of his career where he puts them over the top. I'm not taking anything away from playoff Jimmy. There's a reason why it's called playoff Jimmy, because his game skyrockets and goes exponentially to a different height in the playoffs. I mean, he led the Heat to 2 NBA finals. They didn't win it, but he led them there. But I can't sit here and talk about this trade and not see how this can't be good for the league. And I think that this whole Jimmy Butler saga will have a negative impact on the league moving forward. The NBA is one of, I think, 2 or 3 leagues that has a salary cap. I think one of 2, 3, because we're talking about WNBA. And while it's one of 3 leagues that has a salary cap, it also has fully guaranteed contracts. Well, this is the Bulls, Sixers, Timberwolves, and now Heat. This is the 4th team that Jimmy Butler essentially blew up when he didn't get his way. And while, don't get me wrong, I understand why he may have felt a certain type of way with all of those organizations. I understand why he felt some type of way with the Bulls towards the end. I definitely understand why he felt some type of way with the 76ers. I understand why he felt some type of way with the Timberwolves. And I understand why he felt some type of way with the Miami Heat. But here's my issue. And here's where I think it can get a little detrimental. You know what'll stop all this? You know what could stop all this? Non-guaranteed contracts. Because it's like, why am I giving you this money in guarantees, but then you're going and saying, I'm not going to play? And you're essentially forcing their hand to suspend you. Look, I've talked about this before, and I feel that Jimmy Butler has a point, especially if the NBA is one of the only places that kind of straddles the line between paying people for what they've done and paying people for what they're doing or what they will do. I think Jimmy Butler is past the point, or was past the point when we talk about the Heat and paying for what I'm going to do. He was looking for, pay me for what I've done. That's the issue that Klay Thompson had with the Golden State Warriors. And while that's fine and good, and I have no problem with that, especially when you decide what you're going to decide as an organization, Jimmy Butler can't keep dictating where he goes this way, because owners are about to say, you know what? Why do we keep giving these players guaranteed contracts for them to turn around and do stuff like this? I don't think any other player would go to the extreme as Jimmy Butler. But remember, Le'Veon Bell in the NFL sat out a whole season. Like, And those are non-guaranteed contracts. So what do you think about that? Oh boy. Let's just talk about the trade. I do think that both teams are winners. I think that the Golden State are winners. One thing that the Golden State has struggled with all year, we've talked about this, and this is even when they were 12-3, I said I think the ball is going to drop soon. Because when you have players playing outside of the norm, when you have players playing exceptionally that maybe aren't used to or maybe don't understand that what you're doing right now is not sustainable. You see, there's a difference between superstar, star, and good players. The difference between a superstar and a star is you know what you're going to expect from a superstar. On top of that, the best a superstar can give you can lead your team to exponential heights. I think there are levels of superstardom, but when you're a superstar and you play your best, your team has a great shot, not only of winning the game, but going far. Steph Curry is still a superstar. LeBron James, Kevin Durant, who we'll talk about in a second, Nikola Jokic, Giannis, superstars. Luka Doncic, superstars. The difference between a superstar and a star is a star, you know what you're going to get from a star, but their best might not be a superstar level. For instance, Giannis is a star, or superstar, I'm sorry. Jaylen Brown, I think, is a star. I don't think he's a superstar. I think Jaylen Brown's best, and no offense to him, I mean, he's a Eastern Conference Finals MVP. He's a Finals MVP. He's a champion. I don't think Jaylen Brown's best is on the same level as a Giannis or Nikola Jokic or Steph Curry or a Luka. Still great. But I just don't, And then you have a good player. Why am I saying all this? Because a lot of Golden State's good players was playing like stars and superstars. The issue was that's not who they are. And once the ball dropped, as we saw, it got ugly. And it's still sort of ugly for Golden State, which showed that they do not have a second scorer. They don't have a second star. You thought it was going to be someone like Brandon Podziemski, or they hoped it was going to be someone like Brandon Podziemski. They hoped it was going to be someone like Jonathan Kuminga. For a good portion of the season, it was Andrew Wiggins, but again, Andrew Wiggins is a good player. He's not a star, nor is he a superstar. So Golden State needed a second person to depend on, because if you look at a lot of Steph Curry's numbers, the reason why he's having a statistical down year is because it's easy for teams to defend Golden State. It's just face guard and double team Steph Curry. We don't care about nothing else. If we lose because Buddy Hield has 30 points, then hey, we'll just shake their hand. But we are not going to let Steph Curry kill us. So which is why you see games where he goes in the half with 2 points. This is why you see games where he's 5 for 20 from three. It's like they're defending him differently. Well, when you add Jimmy Butler, it gives you another star. While no, Jimmy Butler is not Kyrie in a sense of scoring. Jimmy Butler is a person that can create his own shot. Jimmy Butler is a person that can demand attention from the defense. And on top of that, you don't have to give up as much as you would think. You still get to keep Jonathan Kuminga. You still get to keep Draymond Green. I think that was a win for Golden State. Now, every time we've seen Jimmy Butler act unruly, let's say, it's because he didn't get what he wanted. Mostly either being a contract extension, whatever. Well, him signing a 2-year contract, it's like, okay, we at least have him for 2 years. So, which is, you would think is the window, corresponds with the window of Steph Curry's prime-ish. So, I do think it was a win for Golden State and for the Heat. Andrew Wiggins is a good player. Andrew Wiggins was a very important piece to the 2022 Golden State Warriors, which ultimately won the championship. The run that Andrew Wiggins had in the playoffs immortalizes him in Golden State forever. But the Heat were trying desperately to get off of Jimmy Butler. And to do that and get a player like Andrew Wiggins, that while no, Andrew Wiggins is not on the same caliber as Jimmy Butler, you're hoping that someone like Bam Adebayo and Tyler Hero, who was selected for his first All-Star game, you hope that they're the leaders, and then Andrew Wiggins is a perfect complement. One thing that we've seen about Andrew Wiggins is if he's the number 1 or 2 option, your team's not going nowhere. But if he's a 3rd or 4th option like he was in 2022, then you're maximizing the best player. So, or you're maximizing his best. So I think that as crazy as everything that went down happened with Jimmy Butler, I do think that both the Miami Heat and the Golden State Warriors is a winner. Oh, man, you stayed to the end of the video. I appreciate you. If you like what you saw, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you'll never miss any content from your boy. You can also go back and watch past episodes, past clips, and don't forget that the Unpopular Podcast, new episodes drop every Wednesday and Saturday. Appreciate you.